Hello and welcome to another Photoshop video. In this project we're going to take a look at symmetry painting. So this is a feature in the brush tool settings within Photoshop. So we have the brush tool selected in the toolbox, and on the options bar we have the symmetry icon, the butterfly icon, and you can see we have a whole range of different styles to choose from. So the different options can be quite useful if you want to draw any sort of symmetrical shape, flowers, faces, anything like that, objects. And once enabled, the box will appear within the picture space, and that will contain a number of segments, allowing us to paint in each of those segments. The feature we'll use is the Mandala Painting, because that also mirrors your brush stroked within each segment. Often see mandala painting in Hindu and Buddhist symbolism, mandalas being geometric patterns that are organised around a single central point. In fact, mandala is actually Sanskrit for circle, Sanskrit of course being the classical language of India and Hinduism. So the mandala brush in Photoshop lets us create these designs very quickly. So to start off with, I've just opened up a background image. You could use a blurred photo of your own as a base, and that is just open by default on a locked background layer. So going to the layers panel, I'm just going to press the plus icon, and that will create a new blank layer, and then that will just allow painting above the background. So I'm just going to make sure my brush tool is selected, then go to choose a new foreground colour. So you can choose anything that you like for this to start with. So I'm going to go bright with quite a bright turquoise, and just reduce down the size of my brush. I'm going up to Symmetry Painting by clicking on the butterfly and choosing Mandala. And this is where we choose the number of segments that we'd like to paint in. So I'm going to choose 6 for that and click OK. And then what that will do is just place the segments within our picture space when I click on the icon. And this can be moved around just to reposition if you're not quite happy with the positioning of it. And then once it's in the right place, just either hit enter or click the tick in the options bar. So now with our brush tool selected and painting with turquoise as the foreground colour, we basically just start off creating a design. So you can start off with a fairly small brush, and then you can just build it up as you go and change the colour perhaps, and make my brush a bit smaller still. So you get the idea. We build this up until we have created an interesting sort of design. I'm going to pop in another blank layer and introduce something a little bit more random by going to Window and Brush Settings. And then we can just take a look at the brush dynamics. That's actually pretty much good the way it is. It's the scattering that would be better. So if we just increase the scatter, so it's kind of a pretty random sort of scatter, and we can have a look at color dynamics. Again, color, if we have foreground to background jitter, randomness, in other words, around the 30% mark, hue 1%, saturation, just leave that where it is, and brightness around 38. So you can see the example at the bottom there. That's giving us this nice sort of random look. And again, if we just go to the foreground colour and change that, so we'll have something nice and bright, click OK there, and with a small brush you can just sort of click and introduce a nice sort of random scattered design into the image. May want to change the colour again, just so it's looking a little bit different. And again, keep that brush nice and small. And so you get the idea, we're just building this up as we go. And so now going back to our layer 1, I'm just going to change the blend mode to colour dodge, just to give us a different look altogether. And we can apply a filter. So filter blur and radial blur. Just going to pop in a zoom blur onto all of that. And then clicking on the top layer, we can merge everything together by pressing Shift, Command, Alt and E, or Shift, Control, Alt and E, and that will give you that merge copy layer at the very top. We can then take that into Camera Raw. So if we just go to Filter menu, Camera Raw Filter, that takes us into Camera Raw, and we're going to work with the Radial Filter. So with that filter selected, if you just double click within the filter, that will actually place it around the image so that you can work on a vignette. If we have invert ticked, we can then take our exposure right the way down, and that just creates quite a pleasing darkening of the edges. When you return to editing now, if you feel the colours a little bit too vibrant, you can also take saturation down, but then just boost the vibrance a bit so it's not so bright in terms of colour, and the undersaturated colours are given a bit of a boost. We go to choose a colour profile. I'm going to choose artistic, and then you can see how your image looks a little bit different with all of the different profiles that we have on offer. So just choose the one that you like the look of and then click OK. So now we're back into Photoshop. We go to the options bar and turn Symmetry Painting off. Working on layer 3, Command J or Control J to duplicate that layer again, and we'll set our blend mode to lighten. Our next step is to press Command and T. So if we press Command and T, just zoom in a little bit so I've got a little bit more picture space to work with. Then holding the Shift key down, and we're going to rotate the layer. So just rotate it, so that's going to constrain it to 45 degrees. And then once we let go of that and commit that change, we can repeat that by using a keyboard shortcut. So we'll press Command or Control, Shift, Alt and T, and then you can see the pattern building, which is, you might have decided your pattern wasn't that nice initially, but then as you keep pressing the keyboard shortcut, you see the pattern start to emerge, and then it takes on a whole new life. Now we could stop there, that's the pattern created, or we can add it to the eye. So with the eye image open, just select your move tool, click and drag into the background start image, and then just reposition that slightly so it's in the right place. So once we've got that there, you can press Command and T, resize it, transform it. We'll change our blend mode, we'll pop that on overlay, and we're going to duplicate the layer again with Command and J and set the layer blend mode back to normal. We're going to use Blend If here in order to bring back some of the dark areas so they shine through the eye. So using Blend If, we're working on this layer and we drag the white point slider. So we drag around midpoint with that, and then hold down the Option key or the Alt key, and then we drag it the rest of the way, and then click OK. Then going back to our image, we can just reposition things as necessary until we get the eye looking the way we want it to. You can apply a layer mask at this stage, and then you can use your brush tool and paint on the layer mask in order to Just bring back some detail where you may want it. Might want to just bring back, just reverse that, a little bit of detail around the eye area, so we've got that shining through. So just painting on the mask, you can bring that back, and there we have it, the finished mandala painting. Thank you for watching.